welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to make this video. Today we're going to be doing a Noah Kahan songs picks my reads for the month. I've been brainstorming how to do this idea for a couple of weeks, and I think I finally figured out a way to make this work without getting copyrighted, with being able to take you guys through the whole process and it being a fun, doable challenge. I'm going to be going on Spotify and I'm going to shuffle the Noah Kahan complete playlist like a certain amount of times, and then we will use that song that I get to pick a book off of my current physical TBR shelf. So this is my first time doing one of these challenges, so I wanted to make it as easy as possible on myself. So I'm giving myself like really broad ways of picking the books. Like, it can be off of the cover colors, it can be off of like the general vibes of the song, it can be based off of a specific lyric in the song, and like there's a couple that he has that are like location based. Like, I can find a book that's based in that location of this, like the song. Like, he has a song that's called Maine. I could find a book that it was like written in Maine, or like takes place in Maine. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of grace since it's my first time doing one of these. I have seen a couple people do videos like this, but I haven't seen anybody do it the way that I have. A lot of times when I see people do these videos, they're doing it like they're picking out certain books to start out with, and then they'll go in and like they'll pick like 3 songs for each book, and then they'll put it in a playlist, and then they shuffle the playlist, and then whatever song they get, it's a book that they read. I decided to go completely chaotic about it, and I'm actually just gonna pick the songs before I actually even pick the books. So this might be harder, but I think it's gonna be more fun. Not that those videos aren't fun, I'm just a more chaotic human being, and I like to challenge myself. So I'm gonna go into the whole process of it. But just so you know, just so you're not worried, I'm not going to be playing any of the, like, the sound won't be on, so we're not going to get copyrighted. I'm going to have the sound completely off. I'll just be showing you what pops up on Spotify, and hopefully that will keep us from being copyrighted. I'm a really big Noah Kahan fan. I'm literally wearing the crew neck that I saw Niall and him perform in. He was the special guest for Niall when I went to go see him, and I am obsessed with both of them, so it was like the best night of my life. I actually have a video of me almost falling down the stairs while sobbing. It's pretty iconic. I have not listened to 173 songs. I know that might make me a fake stan. I just don't listen to music very often unless I'm like traveling or cleaning. I haven't really had the opportunity to listen to all of his songs, but the ones I have, I'm obviously obsessed with. So we might get a song that I haven't listened to yet, which is totally fine. I will go listen to it a couple of times. I'll like Google like lyric meanings. I'll go on TikTok and see how people react to the song. Like, I will do my research. Like, even if it's a song that I have not listened to, we will find a book based off of it somehow. I'm going to be picking 12 books because I usually read 15, but I have 3 new releases coming out this month, which I will go over in a second. I'm going to shuffle 12 times, and then whatever 12 songs I get, I will go pick 12 books, hopefully off of my physical TBR, but if not, it will be off of my Kindle TBR. Hopefully it's as fun for you guys to watch as it is going to be fun for me to do. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. So I'll try to explain as we go, and if I run into any mishaps, I'll try to address them. But hopefully we just get 12 easy peasy books. But I will say, a lot of Noah Kahan songs are sad. I'm not going to be reading 12 sad books. I will find other ways to pick books other than the sadness of the song. He doesn't really have a lot of upbeat, happy songs, so I'm not going to like stick myself with 12 sad songs and then just be like crying the entire month of March. I'm not doing that. So if I get 12 sad songs, I won't like reshuffle, but I will like try to find some happiness in the songs and then pick a book based off of that. So that is like my little exception, is if I get all 12 songs are sad. You guys can't make me cry for the whole month. I already typically do cry the whole month, like in my daily life. I don't need it to be in my reading life as well. So I'm gonna stop yapping. Okay, so I'm really excited to do this. I had to go get my old phone because I'm filming off of my current phone because I don't have a camera yet. So I had to go get my old half-broken phone to do this. So I'm on Spotify. So we're gonna go into the Noah Kahan complete playlist. I think there's like 173 songs in this playlist. And we're just gonna hit, I don't want smart shuffle. Okay, it's not. Okay. So we're just gonna hit, and we're gonna see. The first song that came up was Orange Juice, which is that's my favorite Noah Kahan song. I promise this was not a setup. Y'all saw I hit shuffle and I didn't know. Okay, this is my favorite Noah Kahan song. Okay, anyways, so that was book number 1, and then we're gonna do, that's book 2. Is that Youngblood? Yeah, book 2. I actually have not heard this song. Bad Luck is book 3. You're Gonna Go For It is book 4. This is my least favorite Noah song that I've ever listened to. It's not a bad song. I don't hate it. If I had to rank all of them, this is at the bottom for me, which I feel like is a very unpopular opinion. I'm so sorry to any of the You're Gonna Go For It fans. So that's book 4. False Confidence. I love this song. So far, we've only gotten one song that I don't know yet. So book 6 is Fine, acoustic. We're All Gonna Die, which is a song that he has with someone else that I've literally never heard. So this is fine. Are we on book 7? I think so. 7 is Hurt Somebody. 8 is Northern Attitude. 9 is The View Between the Villages. Is it extended? It's the extended version, which is the best version. A Troubled Mind. I think this is book 10. Howling. I've not heard this one. Howling. Dial Drunk is book 11. And I think this is book 12 is Still. And I'm actually going to hit shuffle just one more time because I lost count. So potentially 12 will be Part of Me. So that's where we're at. I actually thought that I was a book behind, but I was actually a book up because when I thought I was gonna be picking book 7, I already just picked book 7. So from that point on, I was like the wrong number. I went back and like screenshotted the songs and then like counted that way. And Howling was actually book 12, like book song 12. So I did record, I think, like 3 songs after that, and what I'm gonna decide to do, since I already have the footage of that, is I'm just gonna have those be as maybes, just in case like I DNF one of the other ones. But I will make it crystal clear, like when I go to pick out books, like I'll say like, oh, these are just like the 3 that are on the side, like in case I DNF, or like in case I read faster than I anticipate. That way, maybe we get to do a few extra songs. Because I do love the songs that were picked. The other 3 songs I do really enjoy, but I'm not gonna like swap those for any because that doesn't feel fair. So I don't want to delete the footage because I already have it, and I feel like it can be at use at some point. And if by chance I don't actually end up using those 3 songs, then it's fine. It's totally fine. So that's what's gonna happen. I think the best way of me doing this is I'm gonna go listen to the songs all the way through and then like pick books, and that might take me a little while, so I'm not gonna really record through all of that. It could take me like 30 minutes to pick books out for these songs, because even though I'm a big fan, like, I do want to do my due diligence to like pick songs that like represent the books or like have some kind of meaning towards the books. Like I don't want to just say, oh, this cover is yellow, let me go pick a yellow book, unless I have to. Like if I'm not getting any kind of inspiration from the book, I will do like the cover color, but I want to try my best to find some kind of meaning to the song that I can relate to a book, so this might take me a while. I will return with the 12 to 15 books that I'm going to be reading, and then we'll go over what my actual TBR is going to be with the new releases and stuff. And sorry that I don't know how to, it's not that I don't know how to count, I just have ADHD, and like when I, like if I'm counting, it needs to be the only thing in my brain. And when I started talking about like songs and what songs I like, my brain instantly lost the plot. My brain was like, what were we counting? What number were we on? What numbers even exist? Like my brain is like very one track sometimes. The fact that I was like, oh, I think I have to go one more time because no, babes, you were you were wrong. But I can admit when I'm wrong. Okay, so the first song was Orange Juice, which I was saying was my favorite song. It has a lot of meaning to me, and like a lot of people interpret it different ways. To me, the song is really about how you have changed as a person, but someone in your life you feel like hasn't changed, and you just like feel like the world around them has changed and they've just stayed exactly how they are, exactly how they've been for like a good part of their life. I think a lot of people like relate it to friendship, which I do too, but I wasn't able to find a book about friendship, but I was able to find a book that has some of that meaning. So the lyric that I pulled from was, you said my heart has changed and my soul has changed, that my life has changed, that this town has changed and you had not, that the word has changed, don't you find it strange that you just went ahead and carried on? So that's the lyric that I pulled. The book that I picked for that was this book called Now That I've Found You. It's orange because it's like orange juice, but the main reason why I picked this is about a young woman who is following in the steps of her grandma in Hollywood, and it's supposed to be like about like being young and full of like artistic passion and like searching for answers and searching for love and just searching how to navigate this world that she's in. But apparently her grandma has been a recluse for like 20 years and she has to give her an award, and like something happens with her grandma. And I feel like in this particular case, the one who has not changed is her grandma. And I feel like, I'm not for sure because obviously I haven't read the book, but I feel like that might play into like a connection to the song about how like she has changed and she's like trying to understand herself, and her grandma, who's just been in her home for 20 years, might not really know like how what the world is like around her. So that's kind of like what I picked for this book. Okay, so the second song was Youngblood, which I've only listened to a few times, but the kind of vibe that I was getting was that it's like kind of like a letter of encouragement to yourself and like going on new adventures and stuff. The topics that I kind of really focused in on when picking a book was keep your time, keep your mind, keep humble, start your life in the middle of the jungle, rub your eyes, be surprised, keep hungry, stay alive, try to lose all of your money, which I love that last line. So the book that I picked was Forestborn. I know this is not a jungle, but it's a forest, so I was kind of like thinking like that kind of setting. She has magical abilities. Storygraph said, to be born of the forest is a gift and a curse. She is a shifter, as magical as all those born in the wilderness, and as feared, she uses her ability to spy for the king, traveling under different guises and listening for signs of troubles. Magical illness surfaces, so she must uncover the devastating truth that her best friend has caught it as well, and its only hope is a stardust, the rarest of magical elements found deep in the wilderness where the main character grew up, which she swore to never return. But for her friend, she's gonna have to go back and she's gonna have to like brave the dark, return to her past, kind of learn from it. So I was kind of getting those vibes for this book because like I was like thinking like this song could kind of be like a love, like not a love letter, but like an encouragement to herself to go back into the forest and stuff. But it just really seems like this is gonna be like kind of like a self-journey book, which I think this song Youngblood kind of serves as. So that is where I went for this book. Okay, the third song was Bad Luck, which I hadn't heard before somehow, but I wouldn't listen to it. And it's like a song about like mental health and how you think that your mental health like makes you hard to love, and it just like has like a sense of like loss and grief to it, and kind of just kind of gives like the vibe that you kind of hate yourself. Anyways, the book that I picked for that was Mark of the Wicked, because this is a book about a girl who has like dark magic, and she's done a bunch of misdeeds, and her misdeeds has actually scarred her body from the dark magic, and she's being like framed for something. So I feel like I didn't go too much into the reviews and stuff, but it feels like she kind of has like a sense of like anger with herself that she wants to be a good witch, but she keeps finding herself doing these things that like get her like put as a bad witch. So I feel like she has a lot of like anger towards herself for like, oh, why can't I just be how everyone else is? Like, why do I have to be the way that I am? Which I feel like is kind of the vibe of Bad Luck from like my one listen of it. I don't know if it's gonna have any self-discovery. It might. But just from like the storygraph description and the reviews, it seems like this is kind of like a more darker and emotional read, which I feel like really fits the Bad Luck song. So this is what I'm gonna go with. But I think it'll be interesting. And then the next song was You're Gonna Go Far, which is a song that I always think about being like you're leaving like your home, or you're leaving what you've always known to go do something new. And I don't like, even though this isn't like my favorite song, I do really appreciate the message of it, and I do understand why it's a lot of people's favorite songs. I think the reason why it's not my favorite song is that I actually didn't really leave my home and go pursue a dream. I'm still in my hometown, but that's like a whole other thing. So I just can't relate to the song. But I think it's a really great message of a song. So I picked A Wilderness of Stars because this is about a girl who has like powers around the stars, but her mom's never allowed her to use her powers, and she's been like confined to her home. And then for some reason or another, like, I don't know if her mom dies or something, but she has to, like, she finds out that she's like the key to saving the universe, and like without her, like, everybody's gonna just die. So I feel like that really is a good enough connection to the song, because like you're gonna go for is like pretty much saying like, oh, you're gonna go on to do great things, and I can't think of anything greater than saving the universe. So like, this is the book that I picked for that song. And I'm really, like, I think out of all of these so far, this is the one that I'm really looking forward to. I really love books that has to do with like astrology and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. I think this is also a mystery, like a fantasy mystery. We'll see. We all know my beef that I have with those sometimes. So the next song was False Confidence, which is like a song about like putting on a show to nobody knows like how much you're suffering or how much like you're not confident about what you're doing. And I instantly thought of this book, which is A Veil of Blood and Magic. This is a book that is about someone that's like dying, like they have something with they have something wrong with them, and they're like slowly dying. But before they die, they want to get revenge. I think someone in their family got killed, and they're like set on getting revenge in different ways, and like they don't want anybody to know like that they're dying, so they put on like a show pretty much of them seeming struggling where they are. So the minute I started this song, I already knew what book I was gonna pick. I was like, this book is literally giving these vibes. Like, he wants to kill the collector, I believe the person is called, but like, it's a lonely life, and he's tired of running, and he's like gonna be dying soon, so he's just like, I need to put on my show long enough to kill this person, and then I can just die in peace. But the reason, like, if you want a lyric that I specifically picked from, it was I wonder why I tear myself down to be built back up again, and I hope somehow I'll wake up young again. All that's left of myself, holes in my false confidence, and now I lay myself down and hope I wake up young again. I feel like this person in this book would also like to wake up young again, you know, before the person in their life was murdered. I think it will make more sense after I read this book and I can explain more to you. From what I know about it, I just feel like this book is perfect to go with this song. The next song was Fine, which I had never heard, but I really enjoyed it. It's a song about like saying like no matter what you're going up against, you're gonna be totally fine. Like, you won't let anyone bring you down. You won't let anyone tell you that you won't survive and do good. So I picked The Queen Underneath, which is about an orphan, how to be a thief to survive. And I don't know all of the details obviously, but for some reason she ends up being the new queen. And everyone's like, what the heck? Like, you're literally an orphan, like you're literally like a so-called bad person. And she wants to be queen to like kind of repair things and make truces with like the fighting and the conflict. So I really thought that this would be a good song to go with this book, because I mean, she's pretty much being told that she can't do it, and she's like gonna be like, oh yes I can, like I'll be just fine, like no matter what I'm gonna survive. So the lyric that I pulled for this song was this is for all the dreams I believed in. This is for all those doubts in my mind. This is the wild, wild world that we live in. I won't let anyone tell me I won't survive. So this, I feel like, goes really well with this one. So those are the first 6 books. I'm gonna go do the other 6 books. But yeah, that's what I have so far. Okay, the next song was We're All Gonna Die, and it's a song that Noah did with someone else. I never heard of it. It was very interesting. It was like not really a lot of lyrics and a lot of music, so it made it really hard to do this book. But one of the lyrics is, I'm afraid of what I can't control. We're all gonna die trying to figure it out. We're all getting high anyway, we know how. We're over our heads, so I'll say it out loud. We're all gonna die trying to figure it out. So I picked this book, which I know seems a little bit different. It's gonna be a bit of a stretch, and I'm sorry about that, but this is the best that I could do. This took me a really long time. So this is about these 2 main characters that work together, and they don't really like each other. They're like enemies, but this is a romance book, so I would use rivals instead of enemies. But they have to create this like road trip to like save the bookshop to like bring in revenue. So there's like a whole list of things she has to do, and like apparently falling in love isn't one of them. and that's why I picked this book, because I'm like, it's a romantic comedy, like they're gonna fall in love, and that's why like that line about like I'm afraid of what I can't control, I feel like this will really apply in this book, because obviously like she can't control falling in love, and she's making all these lists because she likes to have control in her life. So that's why I picked this book. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but like, I don't know, there wasn't really a lot of lyrics to go off of, so that is what I picked for this song. The next song was Hurt Somebody, which was a duet that he has. And it's a song about kind of like loving someone but hurting them, and like hurting each other but still loving each other, and Chill's trying to like work through it all. So I picked Kick McBride Gets a Wife. This is a romance. The main reason why I picked it though was because like it's not like a betrayal, because it's not like a betrayal, because that's a little too deep for this, but this is like the person, he doesn't really know the person that he's marrying, like she's pretending to be someone else, like her identity is not like known, and then like once he does find out her identity, she has to like convince him that like she's who he really needs, like he like has wanted her all along, like, so I kind of like really went on like the hurt somebody part, like she deceived him but she still loves him, and he like kind of loves her, and like it's a romance, so of course they're gonna end up together, it's like it has to be a happy ending. The next song was Northern Attitude, and my perception of Northern Attitude is that like you want to love, like you want to find love, whether that be relationships, like romantic relationships or platonic relationships, but you're so afraid that like where you grew up has impacted you, and like people won't like understand you, or people won't want to be with you because of like your isolated environment, like kind of like you grew up in a small town, so like people might see you differently, or you might act in ways that people might not be able to like get behind. So I picked the Song of the Six Realms. I picked this book because of the fact that the main character is an orphan, like she has no past, like she has no memories of herself. So like when you say isolated environment, like this was a isolated environment, and she gets sent to the kingdom somehow, and it has romance in it, so I'm assuming that she falls in love with someone, and it talks about in the storygraph description that like it's about like self-discovery and like learning how to get past your upbringing. So I really felt like that like little bit of information like really resonated with Northern Attitude. The next song was The View Between Villages, the extended version, and I love the song, but it also makes me cry, so I did not listen to it today because I don't need to listen to it again, because I already know what it represents to me. At least I feel like the song represents to me like moving away from home, but then having to come back to home, and like feeling like you're in between two different places. And like really the part that I resonated with was the death of my dog, the stretch of my skin, it's all washing over me, I'm angry again. Like that's the part that resonates with me when I listen to the song. So that's the part that I wanted to pick a book off of. So I picked the Together We Rot, because there was two main characters, but one of the main characters is a boy who is running from his cult family, and he has to come back for some odd reason, and then he has to be hidden again, and it's just like he's like really angry about like his childhood, and he found like sanctuary somewhere, but then he doesn't really fit in there as well. So it's kind of like he's literally in between two places of like he's not really happy or fits in either place, so he's just kind of like there. So I felt like that really resonated with that main character. The other main character is like her mom's missing, so she needs his help. So the song doesn't really resonate with her, but like with the male main character, I really felt like the song was a hit for him. So that's why I picked it. And then the next song was A Troubled Mind, which I actually hadn't heard. So the lyric that I focused on was, I worry for the sun, yes, I worry for the snow. I worry I'll die young, while I worry I'll grow old. I worry for the time I spent worrying alone. So I picked The Lost Dreamer, because this is literally a book about someone like being worried about the world around them. And let me read the description because it's a little bit more. She carries the rare gift of dreaming truth, but when the beloved king dies, his son has no respect for this time-honored tradition. He wants to bring the dreamers to an end, and she has to like kind of pick between fighting for her home or fighting to like personally survive. So it's just kind of like she's worried. Like, I mean, that's like the main takeaway of the song I was getting, was just the fact that like you're anxious, like a troubled mind, obviously, like you're anxious, you're scared, you're unsure of the future. And I really feel like that was what the main character is going to be going through, because like she has to decide between like protecting her like abilities, like her dreamer, like the dreamers, or if she'll protect herself, kind of. I don't know, I can explain more when I finish this, obviously, but that is why I picked this book. The last book out of 12 was Howling, which I also hadn't heard, and it seems to be like a song about wanting to find a purpose. Like you don't feel like you have a purpose, and but you feel like you have to keep going anyways, and you just keep you're like empty and you're sad, but you're like trying to push through. So I picked A Gray Mist Fair. This is about a village that's hidden in the trees, and the people don't ever leave. Like they live only in that village. They've never set foot out of the village. And when it's about the young Taylor, she discovers a body on the road, and she goes looking for who's responsible. So she's kind of like the first person to leave this village. And apparently, like, the woods are full of like dangerous things, and it's supposed to be like this is not her purpose. So that's kind of like what I picked this book for, because she was a tailor. Like, she didn't really feel like she was doing much. Like, she was stuck in this village, and then now like she did find a purpose. So the lyric that I really focused on was, is there something keeping me here for the minute, is what I focused on. So I feel like the main character will start to kind of question like what her purpose is, and like maybe even find her purpose. So those are the 12 books based on the 12 songs. But like I said in my earlier clip, I did accidentally go 3 songs over, because I apparently can't count without like losing count because of ADHD. So I did go through and I picked 3 books for those songs as well. Just to tell you, the 3 extra songs was Dial Drunk, Still, and A Part of Me. So for Dial Drunk, I picked Green Light, because Dial Drunk to me is kind of like toxic love. It's like saying that you love someone so much that you think that they would like, you would like go to jail for them, like you would like die for them, and then the other person is just like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with you? So I feel like that's just my interpretation of Dial Drunk. I don't like have a specific lyric, because I don't really listen to Dial Drunk a lot, and I didn't want to listen to it today because I just don't want to. So that's like kind of what I was going with, because this book, it's really hard to find a description of this book, because like even on the back it doesn't really have one, it just has a quote. But this is about like this, they grew up together and something happened like with revenge, or like she ghosted him, so now he's like a psycho killer or something like that, and he's like back to like this is a dark romance. So that when I said toxic romance, I went straight to a dark romance for this. So I really can't give you much else. This was a stretch, to be honest. Okay, and then the next extra song was Steel, which I love. The lyric that I picked for Still was, you find love that lasts a while till you lose the reasons. So I picked Make the Fireflies Dance, because this is a book about someone who's wanting to fall in love, and then like there's a whole like thing where like she gets set up on blind dates, and then she ends up falling in love with someone that she didn't expect to fall in love with him, I think. Like someone that was already in her life, so it was like, oh, she went on all these dances, and then she fell in love with the person that she least expected to. So that's kind of what I picked from Still, because Still doesn't have a lot of lyrics either, and Still is one of those songs that's interpreted by a lot of people a lot differently than others. Like, I feel like it has the most interpretations from different people. So this was a bit of a stretch. But the last one was Part of Me, which I have only listened to a couple of times, so I did like listen to it a few times today. But the lyrics that I focused to for Part of Me was, if I died tomorrow, babe, would you feel me? Because you were only a little bit of light, and you were only a minute of my time. I don't miss you. I miss the way you made me feel like a lost part of me out there. So I picked In It to Win It, because this is a second chance romance about like this couple that was together, and then they broke up, and now like they're both competing for the same property. And like even the tagline on Storygraph is like they're competing against each other, but they might get the best prize of all each other. So I feel like this is gonna dive into like them realize, like, because a part of me is like The way that I interpret Part of Me is that it's a song about you think that the person that you were with, it wasn't really a big thing, and then you realize that it was actually a really big thing. So I feel like this book's gonna give us, like, these characters are gonna, like, oh yeah, it was just like a breakup, it's something big, and then they're gonna see each other again and be like, oh, actually I'm in love with you because I was in love with you back then. That's what I think this book's gonna give us. So those are the 15 books that I picked with Noah Kahan songs. Like I said, the last 3, those are maybes, as in, like, if I DNF one or if I read faster than I think and I, like, can get through all 15. So I really hope that you enjoyed this process, but I do plan to do my March wrap up a little bit differently than you've seen in the past, because I plan on, when I finish the book, I plan on doing, if I picked correctly, like if I did a good job picking. For example, like if I finished the first book that was for orange juice, I picked it, I'll be like, oh, like, did this really match with the vibe of orange juice, or like, did it match up with the reason why I picked the book, to kind of like see like if I did a good job or not. And then obviously I'll tell you my thoughts on the book. I'm really excited to see like how I picked, like if these give the vibes that I think they are. I really hope that I like a lot of these, but it wasn't like I picked all of them for my physical TBR. I'm like, this is what I have left for my physical TBR, because I am saving a couple books for certain things. Like I'm doing a read along of the Truly Devious series in July, so obviously those books got put aside, and then I have a reading thon that I'm doing in May and June with Pride books, so I put aside the Pride books. There is one that I think that was LGBTQ that I picked today, but it was just because it like wasn't like a main character that was gay, so I was like, oh, this is fine, like I can still use it. Okay, so here is my March TBR in total all the way through. I have 3 new releases. The Sunrise on the Weeping, which is like the prequel to the Hunger Games series that I am so excited for. I've been dying for Haymitch's story, but it's also going to be extremely sad and traumatizing because Haymitch went through so much. It is also my book club pick of the... We do it every 2 months, so this is our book club. We're actually going to talk about it in person. We don't get to do a lot of like in-person discussions, but we're going to have this one in person, so I'm really excited for it. I hope we all love it. The second book that I have that's coming out in March is Go Luck Yourself, which is the second book in the Nightmare Before Christmas, or yeah, I think that's what it's called. I'll correct myself if I need to, like in like with a picture. But that is like, it's like a holiday romance. Like, so like the first one was like Christmas and Halloween. They were princes, they fell in love, and this next one, I think it's the St. Patrick's Day prince falls in love with, I don't know anything about it. I'm so excited. And then the third book I have coming now is The Rag Picker King, which is the second book in the new series that Cassandra Clare is writing. I love the first one. It was so good. It's like kind of hard to explain. So I will explain it when I read it. So those are the 3 releases that I have. Now, just to give a little refresher of the books that we picked today, because I did talk a lot in between each book. So just to go through it real fast, I will be reading Now That I've Found You, Queen Underneath, The Veil of Blood and Magic, A Wilderness of Stars, Mark of the Wicked, Forest Born. There's still 2 more stacks to go. Give me 1 second. With Love from Cold World, Kick My Bride Gets a Wife, Song of the Six Realms, Together We Rot, Grey Miss Fair, The Lost Dreamer, and the 3 maybes are Green Light, In It to Win It, and Make the Fireflies Dance. So those are the 15 to 18 books that I will be reading in March, and I'm really excited to see how this all turns out. This was a really long video. I started filming this at 7 a.m. It is 10:30, so when I said it was gonna take me 30 minutes, it actually took me 3.5 hours to do this video, but I had so much fun doing it, so I guess it's worth it. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself doing this, so I might do this, like another like artist picks my songs, but in a few months, like no time any soon. Especially if you guys like this kind of video, then I will definitely add it to my list of videos to do in the future. I had so much fun doing this, and this was a great way of picking books off my physical TBR, because sometimes I just get like decision paralysis where I'm like, oh, I want to read and I don't care what I read, but that means I don't know what to read, because then I'm like, oh, I don't care, just go pick a book. But then I'm like, but how do I know what book to pick? And it's just like, this takes the takes the picking out of it for me, because it's like gives me like a prompt to have to base it on. So I really enjoy doing these kinds of videos. So if you made it to the end of this video, then you should drop a banana emoji, and I'm not telling you why, just do it. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for continuing to support my channel. I hope you have a very moo-tastic week, and I'll see you next Sunday. Where's my cow? We'll use this cow today. Can't wait to see you next Sunday.